Hello, my name is Sip Mendez. Welcome to Sip's Techie Tips. In this video, we're going to do another little sewing project. I'm going to show you how to make pouches. And these are simple, easy, very basic kind of a thing. My wife and I for a long time did arts and crafts shows and flea markets and things like that. And we had big items and we had small items. This is one of the small items. We could sell a lot of these. And they're very easy to make. And people find all kinds of uses for them. All you need is a little piece of fabric. This one is 5.5 by 20, and you can use almost anything you have. This is denim, same kind of things blue jeans are made of. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody who's been watching the videos. I really appreciate that, especially the comments. And if you're not a subscriber, click on subscribe. And if you want to be notified of each new video, click on the bell. So let's get started with making pouches. I'm going to start with this piece of fabric, and it is about 5.5 inches, which is about 13 centimeters, and, and it is about 20 inches long. So that's 30 plus 20, so that's about 50 centimeters long. Okay. And the secret of this project is folding. We're going to start with the inner part, and we're going to fold it over about 1 inch or so. Like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to run it through the sewing machine. So click here, and there, and then we'll run it through. Alright, and without cutting the thread, I'm going to run it through again across the top edge of the pouch. I'm going to cut off the excess threads here, and that should be fine. There's a stitch here and a stitch down here. Okay. Now, the next part is determining the depth. How deep is the pouch going to be? And the fold from here to here tells me how deep it's going to be. And this part up here is going to become the top flap. So if I fold it over here, this will be the pouch, and this will be the flap to go over the pouch. And that looks pretty good there. I can move it up a little bit longer. Okay. And if you notice that it's a little bit wider than this up here, that's unimportant. So I need 2 straight pins. Here's one, and I'll put it through here. I'm sorry my hand is in the way, you can't see. I'll put one through there, and I'll put one over here. And I'm just going to keep those together. Help me keep them together. Okay. Now, as far as making the pouch, all we got to do is stitch from top to bottom on both sides. So I'll put this one here, and I'm gonna sew backward slightly just to catch the top of the pouch, not so much to lock the stitch. Okay. Well, got the thread cut in there. Then we'll do the other side. And again, we'll run it backward just a little bit. Get the top of it. Take out that needle, that pin. And for all practical sake, our pouch is finished. It's just done. Now I got a good pair of sharp scissors here, so I'm going to trim off a little bit of the excess here. This one was a little bit sticking out a little bit too far, and this one is too. It doesn't interfere with anything really, but since I got the scissors, I'm just going to trim these off right here. Now all we got to do is reverse it inside out. And I have one of my old chopsticks. These work great for this kind of thing. I can get in there and push the inside out, and I can push on both sides of the seam, and that gives me nice square corners. Alright, then I'm going to reverse this one. And just push these corners out. There it goes. And like I said, for all practical purposes, that pouch is done. So these tend to be a little bit puffy, and if you iron them, they'll stay just fine. And if you flip this over, that'll be the top flap. And now all you got to do is put a button here, or I've been using snaps, like the kind used for leather work. But what I also do to make them look a little fancier, and you can actually do this with a different colored thread, is to stitch the outline of the pouch. And so I start here, and about 1/8 of an inch in, I'm gonna stitch around here. It needs a little help here because it's so thick. Make sure you get that corner, and then with the needle down I can pivot. And pivot on the needle. This is cooperating quite well as far as getting the needle down in the right place. I'm going to go one stitch and move it over just a little bit to the right, and that'll be the right place there. Okay, I'm going to pivot one more time, and I'm going to sew forward and back just slightly, and that'll lock my stitch in there. And since I'm back where I began, all I got to do is cut off those long threads there and trim those back. And now I don't need to iron it because that stitch will keep everything down nice and flat. I can flip this over, get rid of the excess lint here, and I'm ready to put my snap right in there. This is my snap kit, and I am using 15mm snaps, and 15mm is about 5/8 of an inch. And I have some, this is a piece of steel, and this is used to protect the back side of the pouch. And this is, it's just like those cutting mats. It's that self-healing mat. Cutting mat. Right. Then in here, included in the kit, is a tiny little anvil. And this is one tool. And this is a spreader tool. And this is the hole cutter. Okay. And this hole cutter, it's it might be 3 millimeter. All right. And this is how I figure out where the hole is going to go. I need to be back about a 1/2 inch from this edge, and I need to find the center of this flap. So if I measure with my ruler, I am about 4.5 inches across. Now this is my cheater way of doing it. This is 5 inches across. If I leave a 1/4 inch over here and a 1/4 inch over here, then my center is at 2.5 right here. And I want to be about 5/8 of an inch away from this edge. I want to be a little bit more than a 1/2 inch, or right about a 1/2 inch is good. And I want to close it. I want to make sure my lapels line up. This is my mallet. And I'm going to hit it a few times there. And I want to make sure I have a good hole up there and a good clear hole down here, which I do. And I can take this out. Don't need it anymore. And I'm going to use a gold. So this gold is made up of a post. And then this is the actual snap over here. And this goes in the hole that I made. And the post sticks up through there. Okay. And this little stud part goes on here. This is the tool. It's recessed so it fits over this part. And then I'm going to strike it a couple of times. And this is the way I know I got it in there good and tight. If I can't stick my fingernail under it, then it's good. If I stick my fingernail under it real easy, then it needs to be tighter. To make it tighter, just tap it one more time. And that should do it. The other part is what's typically called a receiver. And I use this little anvil. It's got this part, which I don't use, but I use this soft dish part. And that helps the button part. They call these the caps. The cap will stay intact and it won't lose its curve. So I push that post through here, and I put the snap this side up, and this is the spreader. It's got the post is like a little tube, and the spreader opens that little tube up and curls it over like a ferrule. So I'm going to put it in here. Give it a couple of good hits straight down. Then I go around, and that rolls the edge right in there, and then the snap is on there good and tight, and any excess metal is out of the way, and then it snaps, and there's my finished pouch. And like I said, if you need to iron them, like if I iron this crease over here, it'll keep these little lapels from sticking up. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something. I always do. And it's fun doing these, and I really enjoy doing them. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the space below. If you're not a subscriber, click on subscribe. And if you want to be notified of each new video, remember to click on the bell. So until next time, take care.